Good evening, Vancouver, and welcome back to Canucks After Dark, Monday, June 13th, right on time, 10 p.m. Pacific. As always, joined by my co-host, Canuck Clay. How are you doing today, Clay?
Parker, I'm doing great. I love the color coordination. Your lights match my shirt, or my shirt matches your lights, and then our name bars match your lights and my shirt. Oh no!
Aha.
Oh no, things are really good. As I'm following the Stanley Cup Finals. I'm excited to see what the Canucks are going to do. Some small moves we'll talk about, but I guess the biggest thing, admittedly, is heading off across to the other side of the world, to Europe on Thursday with my son Jacob. We're going to Sweden because he's playing in the world. He's
To go
bowling.
scout Filip Johansson, the new
Yes.
defenseman of the Vancouver Canucks.
I got to learn about these new guys. And while I'm there, I will also watch and cheer on my son, Jacob, who's bowling in the World Junior Bowling Championship. So, yes, off to Sweden for 2 weeks.
That is very cool, very exciting. We might have at least one live on location from some small town in Sweden, which will be very, very interesting. As always, we have, I was going to say as always, last week we had nothing to talk about. This week we have at least a couple of things to talk about. So we're really trending up as we get into July and August, which will be, of course, all the exciting news from July 3rd before the free agency and all that stuff. It's going to be great. It's going to be great, but we do have some Canucks news at the very least today, which we'll go into. I don't know, Clay, you want to just jump into it? You want to just get started with some news?
Let's talk about the two signings. Then we can talk about locker room and see what happens from there. How's that sound?
Let's do it. And let's start with the one from today.
Okay.
Because I think it's the slightly more interesting one. And it's Filip Johansson. Now, I had never heard of Filip Johansson before.
Me neither.
12 hours ago. Right. So, however, I did watch at least one clip of him scoring a goal, which means this is the best sign the Canucks ever made.
Okay, awesome. He's a defenseman, correct?
He is a defenseman. And
right
so
shot?
A defenseman scoring a goal, and he's a right shot. He is going to be the best player of all time.
Awesome. What a signing.
Yeah, that's about all I know. Let's get a bit of the background. I accidentally closed the tab with all the information because I am a professional sports reporter. He played 3 seasons in the Swedish Hockey League. So he was drafted 2018. That draft might sound familiar to you from excellent names such as Quinn Hughes. Also the Jet Wu draft. Jet Wu was selected, I think, about 10 spots afterwards of Filip Johansson. So he's a 2000 birthday, March 2000. So he's 22 years old. In his draft plus 1 year, he was in the second tier Swedish league. Didn't really do anything. His draft plus 2 year, 2019-20 Swedish league, Swedish Hockey League, 39 games, 2 goals, 2 assists, 14 penalty minutes, a -9. -9 might sound bad. He plays for Leksands, a team I've never heard of. So maybe that contributes to it a bit.
Sounds like a printer.
It does. It kind of does. Kind of like Lexar, I guess. Yeah. And the last 2 years, he's played 11 games in each year, or sorry, 46 and 47 games, 11 points in each. And I think the talk of the town was his playoff from this past season in the Swedish Hockey League. In 9 games, putting up 7 points, 5 goals, 2 assists for 7 points. As a defenseman, he's a +5. Throughout that run. So that's a good sign. What's your initial reaction?
Well, I've been actually reading some of the comments. Our viewers, as you know, Parker, they're very, very bright, and they're saying a lot of kind of what you and I were talking about just before we press record, that he's low risk. Why not? It's like a lottery ticket. He's a former first round pick. We know, and as Tiger has said in there, that maybe the Wild reached a little bit when they picked him in the mid-20s back in 2018. And I don't remember him being picked because I was too excited about Quinn Hughes, I guess. But this is the type of guy who, if he turns out to be a third pairing strong option, an upgrade over the Kyle Burrows and Brad Hunt, with all due respect to those guys, down the road, like that kind of player, even better. then why not? Why not try him? And why not try him in Abbotsford and see what he can do and see if he turns into, a steady pro? Maybe those expectations are too high, but I guess the Wild had very high expectations. I think it's fine. I think the point is this guy and the other guy we're going to talk about, the fact that the Canucks are actually signing guys to ELCs where it was kind of bare for a few years under Benning. I think that's a good sign. Admittedly, what you just told me about him, that's how much I know about him. So thank you for that primer.
Yeah, and you mentioned that the Wild might have reached on him back in 2018, and that was the consensus. Sportingnews.com, for take it as you will, they had him ranked 75th on their big board, so a third rounder. The SB Nation Habs, one where they use a bunch of different sources, like 12 different sources, had the consensus rating for him around 60. And Pronman from The Athletic, Corey Pronman, had him at 74. So basically all sort of early third round. Now you might look at that and say, okay, so he's a player who was reached on, and Minnesota didn't want to keep him. Right. That was a lot of sentiment I saw online where they're like, well, Minnesota didn't want him. What, the Canucks are going to come pick up this extra guy who other team didn't want. There is a bit of nuance to it. There's this weird rule in the NHL where if you don't sign a first round pick, then you get a compensatory pick, but
not from us. It just kind of appears out of nowhere. It's
kind of like the NFL where it's just like, oh, here's a pick that just appeared out of nowhere. So basically they said, well, if we don't sign this guy, we get a pick in the 50s in this upcoming draft. So they get a free late second round pick. So they basically decide, he's not worth a late second round pick for us. And that's fine. And for the Canucks, they said, he is worth literally a free prospect. That's a right-hand shot because the Canucks have none of them. It's just, it's one of those things where it's like, it's a free win. There's no real downside. It's a contract slot, sure, but the Canucks have a bunch. It doesn't have any cap implications because it'll be under the $1 million sort of variable threshold. It just makes sense.
You make a great point about the compensatory pick because I know people were wondering, well, we don't even have a second, or do we have a second to give them? You're right. It's the NHL gives them a pick, just slots them in where they would have been if they had a second round pick. And then it basically makes the second round, unless there are more compensatory picks, 33 picks now. So you can't do perfect math now. You can't go 32, 64, 96 because now there's going to be at least a 33 in there.
It's really weird. It's weird because it literally punishes every team a little bit. Things like that, right? Like it's like, all right, everyone just dropped one spot in rounds 3 through 7.
It is strange.
It is an odd system. I guess in the same vein, it also pushes Minnesota's picks back as well that are late in the draft. So I guess it kind of affects everyone the same. But
right. And it's funny, like to make it easier on Canucks fans to understand that. And that's not to insult Canucks fans. I was confused too. We don't even have a second round pick this year to give them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's a free player.
NHL comparables, or I don't know. Have we heard anything yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't looked at much.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Good job. Good job.
He's a free player. Speaking of free players, free Swedes, to sort of continue on that.
Yeah.
Sorry, what did you say?
I just said, oh man.
Man.
Yeah.
Niels Aman. Man. Or whatever. We have not figured out how to pronounce his name. But a man, he sure is. He is so Niels, so upping the Niels quotient to 2. As 22-year-old Swedish centerman. He was originally a 6th round pick back in 2020 for the Colorado Avalanche. I want to see, was there anyone notable picked around him? No.
And while you're looking that up, it's so I presume there's no compensatory pick if you don't sign your 6th rounder.
No, unfortunately not for Colorado. Colorado does need all the help they can get.
Exactly. They suck. Yeah.
But the Canucks go out, they sign him to an entry-level contract. Is this a 2-year or is it I don't know exactly.
No, his was a 2, I think. I think you're right.
Is it 2? It doesn't say in the tweet and it's way too hard to figure out. It shows the year that it ends, which is oh no, it doesn't. It did. It's 2 years. It's 2 years, $883,750 per year. So whatever the standard is, probably some bonuses in there.
Yeah.
He Elite Prospects shows any like awards they've ever won in their career. He is a one-time TV Puck-En bronze medalist.
Wow.
Yep. So that's a thing.
TV Puckin?
TV Puckin is exactly how it sounds. Couldn't tell you what that is. So drafted in 2020 after putting up 47 points in 30 games in the J20 Super Elite League. Then played for Lexans as well as on the same team as our new friend Johansson. The year after he was drafted, went to the Swedish League, put up 10 points in 51 games. Nothing special. 2 goals, 8 assists. The next year, so this last year, improved that 2 goals and 8 assists to 6 goals and 8 assists. So basically the same. Played a handful of games internationally for Sweden. I'm not sure exactly in what tournament. World Championship, he played 7 games, had 2 points, but he had some other games where he put up 3 more points. This is there's so many numbers. It's so confusing. Basically, he is a player that's going to play in Abbotsford next year and maybe be a 4th liner one day.
And then this is in addition to Linus Karlsson, right? Who we didn't we sign him?
Yeah, but they had his rights at least already.
Right. So basically, you're telling me that this Oman was on the same team as Johansson. So we can look up that team basically and predict the next Canucks signing, I think.
Yes. I think that's fair. There's a lot of people to choose from.
Okay.
They did have 36 people play for them.
Wow.
Although I'm not seeing the other. I'm looking at the stats and I can't find Johansson now. Did Johansson switch teams? Oh, he did switch teams. Johansson played for Frölunda the last couple of years.
Maybe there was drama between Aman and Johansson.
Maybe. See, this is the good reporting you get. 2018 or 2019-20, they did play together.
Okay.
So if we look back at that team, we can assume that maybe they'll sign Daniel Olsen Trikulia next.
Yeah, I heard a lot about him. Great hands. Small, but
he's your favorite person who plays the position that he plays, and that is
one of the best left wingers I've seen.
You're absolutely correct. A 31-year-old left winger.
Yeah, there you go.
No, that was great.
Thank you. 1 in 6, 1 in 5. No, how many positions?
He could have been a goalie.
Yeah, 1 in 5.
Yeah. I've learned that I think TV Puck-En is like an under 16 league or something. By the way, like under 16 tournament.
Well, I'm learning about Lexan, TV Puck-En, Daniel Ushchechik, or whatever.
This is an educational. Wow, on that TV Puck-En team was also Rasmus Dahlin.
Who went number 1 in the 2018 draft. Okay.
Timothy Liljegren. Okay, there's like 100 people that played in this tournament, I guess. So there's a lot of like Emil Bemstrom, Adam Boquist, Eric Brandstrom.
Okay.
Rasmus Sandin, a bunch of people. He's as good as all of them, especially Dahlin.
Okay. Wow, awesome. And then as Justin said, Victor Persson as well. Looks like Canucks Skeleton Management had a big year with finding guys. And then why don't you drop that?
Emphasis on guys, I think, is the point of that joke.
Oh, I completely missed it. Person, man, guys. Very good, Justin. Thank you, Parker. I'm just not that bright. Okay, very good.
All right, I'm completely off the rails here. Anything else you want to talk about these two?
No. Considering I can't believe we got 10 or 12 minutes out of that. That was pretty
almost
good.
15. Speaking of young Canucks players, the Young Stars is coming back.
Yes.
That's going to be exciting. I think September 14th to 18th in Penticton.
You going?
Who's in? Maybe. Why not?
It's the 4 Western Canadian teams. It's Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, and Winnipeg. No Seattle just yet. Yeah.
Winnipeg, noted Western Canadian city.
Yeah, well.
I know what you mean, though.
Yes,
yeah, no, it's that will be good. September. I might make it up there. We'll
really?
See. Yeah, why not? It's not that far.
Yeah. You like driving? You got your sweet ride?
I do like driving. It's in September. It's fine. Get away a little bit. Yeah, that's good. It sucked that it was gone for a while. Not like the Canucks have a ton of young stars.
Maybe that's why they didn't have it. They didn't have anyone to qualify.
Yeah, and it's just good. Just good to have some hockey, build some camaraderie with the team. It's basically just a little pre-training camp.
Sure. And Parker, it's a couple of things actually. It's a chance for us to see guys who aren't going to even make Abbotsford this season, but maybe down the road they will be still in the organization. Parker, I always get confused between young stars and summer showcase and summer skills. And like, there's all these things where I just remember I was at something where I saw Quinn Hughes go against someone else in a drill and just blew him out of the water. And it was amazing. I was like, this guy's really good.
Yeah. They do a lot of little things that have cool names.
Yeah.
And don't really specify what they are.
Sure. A chance basically to get excited about some of our younger players for sure. For sure. Yeah. I don't know much about Edmonton, Calgary, Winnipeg prospect system. Although I know a few years ago, I had friends from Alberta tell me that Calgary's prospect system was pretty good, but I don't know. I guess so. I believe them. I don't know. Do you know anything?
Hopefully they lose.
Okay. Even in the young star tournament?
This is our Stanley Cup.
Yeah, you should go, man. That'll be some good content for sure.
Yeah, I might. We'll see. It's very dependent on a couple of things.
Right. Okay, sounds good.
All right. Well, we got 15 minutes out of those 2 players and 2 minutes out of the young stars. Let's go on to. I got 3 more things.
Oh yeah, take your time, brother. Take your time.
Like 3 more Canucks related things though, and I know I don't know which ones you want to go into. What do you want to prioritize here?
Put them up there and we'll chat about it. Whatever you want. You drive the ship. You know
what? We've been talking about young players this whole time. Let's stick with it. All right. So the Canucks interviewed every top 5 who at least they have in their top 5 in the draft. Now, the Canucks pick 15th this year, which is not in the top 5 if my math serves. It's actually well outside that. So there are rumors of, are they trying to move up? There's the whole 2nd round pick rumor and all this stuff. So what do you put stock in? Do you think they're actually maybe looking to try to move up, or are they just doing their due diligence?
I'd go with the
every
double
team
D.
should do.
I'd go with the due diligence, because even if you have no intentions of moving up, a team may come to you and say, hey, we'll trade you this pick for JT Miller plus, or whatever it may be. Because I think we agreed that for New Jersey, we were talking about that Slavoski guy or whatever last week, that it's going to take more than Miller, I think, to get a 2nd overall pick. But regardless, you might not be the one looking, but a team might come to you. And then if you're like, well, I don't know anything about these top 5, that doesn't look good. So not only is it due diligence, but Parker, some people made the point that it might not be for this year, 2022. But what happens when these guys become RFAs at the end of 3 or 4 years, or what UFAs 7? Yeah, I know it seems ridiculous to think about 2029 and 2030, but who knows? You may have had a really good impression or a really poor impression when you met these guys as 18, 19-year-olds. So I think it all goes into the kind of this mumbo jumbo of due diligence, information gathering, doing your research. That's an angle I haven't thought about, because you're not allowed to talk to them after that, right? Like if one of these, let's say one of these guys plays for the New Jersey Devils, and you're thinking about making a trade for him in 5 years when you're trying to win a Stanley Cup or something. Yeah. I guess, you might have some notes from back in the day, be like, oh yeah, that guy really sucked or something like that. Right. Although most of the time it probably doesn't matter all that much. You can usually get a pretty decent vibe, but that's it is interesting. Yep.
Part of me is like, yeah, make a splash. That would be exciting. And part of me is like, oh, please don't screw this up. Like it's just kind of do the safe thing and make your pick and move on. But
yeah,
we'll see.
Now I know you know more about prospects than I do, and I'm happy to admit that.
You don't know what you're talking about.
I know less than you.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Challenge accepted for this year. I got.
Are you streaming? Are you going to stream the draft? I'm not.
I don't even know when the draft is. Clay.
July 7th. July 7th. July 7th.
Okay,
I know
that means you know more. All right.
Well, I look stuff up and I watch other people's things, but I know Shane Wright and this other guy Slavosky that we talked about. I know these names and like the two.
I recognize their names from NHL.
Yeah.
And that's basically it.
Yeah.
Although Chris Peters has Logan Cooley now above Shane Wright.
As 1 or 2?
As 1.
Wow.
Shane Wright.
I know Cooley's a center. I know that.
Slavkovsky 3.
Okay.
Yeah. And maybe it's also, maybe they have a guy that they really like that they think should go number 2 and he falls to 5.
Right.
And then suddenly they can extract some value there, right? Maybe that's the thing they try to do. Yeah, it's who knows? Who knows what could happen?
I was just funny, man, because I know we kind of talk openly about creating content and the YouTube, world and stuff. It would, not about you, but it would be so not right for me to do a stream during the draft because I think people would watch people who actually know what they're talking about. And then they would actually think that I'm being farcical or like satirical or because I would literally know nothing about any guy.
Yeah. Well, then maybe we should do. Well, let's do a draft special where we know, but we are not allowed to do a lick of research beforehand, and all of it is they're going to say a name. We're like Shane Wright. All right, let's type that name into Elite Prospects.
Yep.
All right, he was ranked number 2 from these guys, number 4 from these guys. All right, what's the next pick? Right, things like that.
We could do the non-drafts, but okay, we'll talk. We might be onto something.
Yeah.
It'd be different.
I'll probably do a stream.
Okay, good.
I'll do some.
Then I'll watch it because I'm certainly not doing my own. And then it's different. It was almost different last year when the Canucks were in the top 10 until they traded that pick to Arizona. So it's
what a good trade that was.
It's always different when
I've said that from the start. Man, that was a good trade.
You didn't like it, eh? Right from the start?
No, I didn't. My video's still up. And I was like, I'm not sure about this one.
Yeah. I got excited about Garland. I remember.
Yeah, he's exciting. He's a good player. But
and we didn't know obviously who Arizona was going to pick, and then we didn't know that Gunther would have such a great season.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, now I'm sad.
Yeah, that's being a Canucks fan.
Yep. Okay. Well, yeah. Have fun doing your draft stream.
All right. Well, let's bring the mood up and talk about how the Vancouver Canucks are a bunch of bougie boys who just are there to be a country club.
So you know what's funny? So a bit of background. We didn't actually hear this directly from Jim Rutherford. We heard this from John Shannon, who apparently is very close to Rutherford, from Nick Kyprios, former player, former Sportsnet guy, and they were on Bob McCallan's podcast out of Toronto. So the word was, one of them, Shannon or Kyprios, one of them said that yes, Rutherford didn't like the room, felt it too much, should be like a country club. And then the other guy said, yeah, you're hardly going to recognize this locker room, not talking about physically, aesthetically, but the actual players, naming Demko, Horvat, Pettersson, and Hughes as the only untouchables, which isn't much of a surprise. Here's what I'll say, Parker, real quick, and then I'd love to get your thoughts. Is some people, and I'm not blaming them or trying to insult them, they actually didn't know what the country club reference meant. And that's totally fair. If you've never heard of it, never been to one, or you've never heard it in sports kind of terms, I could see where it's a little confusing. I took it kind of like you said, bougie. I took it like a complacent atmosphere, kind of no one holds each other accountable. It's fun. You're relaxed. You're happy to be there, but there might almost too comfortable, I think is the word. That I would say. Yeah.
Comfortable there for leisure and more focused on having a good time with the boys than trying to win hockey games, maybe.
Yes. So when you first heard that report, do you agree with it, Parker? Can you see some of it?
It's a bit tough for me.
I get we're speculating. Yeah, I get we're speculating.
Yeah, we're 100% speculating. Although part of me thinks, they might be too, right?
Yeah.
Especially when there's the whole like, oh, he's like close with Rutherford. that makes me feel like he's doing a little bit of inferring on his own, right? Maybe, very, possibly. Again, could be wrong. Could very well see everyone get traded, right? It is possible, sure. Um, but from everything we've seen, at least what the Canucks organization has allowed us to see, has shown a very, I don't know the word, but sort of like a good group of guys, right? Like
Mhm.
a foundation heart sort of group has at least been what we've been sort of sold on.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you look down the roster, I'm not seeing anyone I mean, maybe Elias Pettersson, right? He's like, he's wearing his, $20,000 outfits, but good for him. Right. But the other guys aren't, that's not really the vibe I get.
Yep.
But I know I could be wrong. I'm
Yeah,
not
and
there.
I think guys like PD Hughes and Besser, for instance, they we all love them. We all think they're very skilled, but they're none. Even Demko, put Demko in that. They don't seem the type who will stand up and maybe speak out in the room and hold other people accountable. To me, I think of a guy like a Miller. I think of a guy like a Horvat. I think even Pearson Myers, guys that
Yeah.
have kind of earned their stripes. I think Sutter could be like that. Ekman Larson, maybe. So if it's true, if there's some remnants of truth in this country club analogy, maybe it's they simply don't have enough guys holding each other accountable. And I think Miller could be that guy. Maybe that's why if Horvat say wasn't that type or isn't that type, maybe that's where kind of the speculation of this rift or at least different leadership styles that talk came from last year. And yeah, so I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying it's not true, but for it to come out like this, I wouldn't be surprised if there was an element of truth to it for sure.
Yeah, you have to keep in mind that, we're talking about how like, oh, they seem like a group that has heart and all this stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
it is a bunch of really rich, privileged white men who probably grew up pretty rich considering they all played hockey growing up,
Yeah.
right? But that's kind of the entire league.
Yeah. Oh,
So
for
it's
sure.
not like, it's not like this is the one-off
Yeah.
of an example, right? I'm sure every team has a bit of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, who knows? We'll see. Again, if you can get good value out of the moves you're making, as long as
Yeah.
you're getting positive value, I'm for them. Um,
Yeah.
I'm attached to players, but I'm not, if it's a move that'll make the team better, I can get over it.
Yeah. I think one other piece of important context here, Parker, is you got to remember where Rutherford came from. Obviously, Pittsburgh, and you can see a guy like Crosby, even Malkin, Letang. I could see a guy like Fleury when he was there. I could see those guys being real culture carriers, and
Yeah.
especially a guy like Crosby. We know how driven he is, and maybe he alone, single handedly, wouldn't let that locker room become a quote country club. So maybe Rutherford unfairly is comparing what he had in Pittsburgh to what he sees here, and what he's seen here has only been 6 months. Don't forget, he only came here in December, so. Fascinating stuff for sure.
It is
It
interesting.
gives us something to talk about and get fans freaking out about stuff.
Yeah. Speaking of freaking out about
Yeah.
stuff, and you did mention this player as one of your maybe guys who could carry some culture. Tanner Pearson as one,
Mm,
Jason Dickinson as the other. Rumors circulating that of some of the moves they might be trying to make, they might be trying to find suitors for Tanner Pearson and Jason Dickinson. Now, which one do you want to start with?
let's start with Tanner.
All right, Tanner Pearson. I criticized this contract off the bat. 3
Yep.
years, 3.25. And he exceeded it last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I was wrong about disliking year one of that contract. I thought it was a little rich, or maybe 3 years seemed a little much for Tanner Pearson, sort of like a middling player, especially that the year he's coming off of 18 points in 51 games, right?
Yeah.
It's like a 30
Yeah.
point pace. That's barely cutting it, right? But this last year, half a point per game, 34
Yep.
points, 68 games, on pace for 41 over the course of a season. 40-point guy, 3.25 million. No problems with that. So when I see trying to find suitors, does that mean that they think his contract has negative value and they just want to be rid of it, or do they think they're going to, get something from it? Because I think there's teams out there that, even if it's like a third round pick, right?
Mhm.
Or a middling prospect, right? I think there's teams out there that would like to have a Tanner Pearson.
Yep. Yep. When I see Tanner Pearson's 3.25, as you mentioned, Jason Dickinson 2.65, that adds up basically to 5.8, 5.9. That's $6 million that you could allocate towards and it's not gonna pay for it all, like a Philip Forsberg, for instance. It's if you're not going to be able to move the big money like the Myers, the Ekman Larsens, the Besters, for instance, yet, then you have to carve out some space somewhere. So you're not going to get any value from the $1 million guys. So you have to look at those middle guys of Pearson, of Dickinson, of Pullman, the guys making between 2.5 and 3.5. And maybe you carve out a bit of room there. So no surprise to me, Parker, when I heard this report, but I just think Pearson might fetch you some value. And I know we're going to get to him next. I'm not sure how much Jason Dickinson is going to fetch for you after the season he had.
Yeah, Pearson's a weird one for me because I feel like if your goal is to make the team better, what you'd be trying to do is trade Tanner Pearson and then bring in someone else who makes about $1 million less and will give you the same output.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Because then you're adding $1 million in salary cap for almost no downside.
Yep.
Right. Otherwise, you're taking that million off and getting worse.
Right.
I don't think you're going to get a 40-point player
for that. Yeah.
for less, unless you get really lucky.
Right.
You pull out, you pay someone 1 year at 1 million in free agency and you hit, right? You get lucky. So if they're of the mind of I'm Jim Rutherford and I just need to trade Tanner Pearson at every chance I get, maybe that's part of it. Maybe part of it is they don't think, or they're just thinking farther down the line and they're thinking, hey, well, in 3 years, he's going to be, after 2 years, he's going to be a UFA.
Right.
Anyways, well, maybe we just move on now and try to get some certainty and get someone younger or something along those lines. Again, it just depends on what you get for value. That's really all I care about. And yeah, Jason Dickinson was a player that we were pretty happy with the trade, pretty happy with the contract. And he has just, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe how you go from, 15 points in 51 games, which is fine. Having 21 and 65, 22 and 67 the years prior, being a really good third liner, analytically, just a really good third liner. And then to go from that and be invisible for
How many
62
points?
games,
11,
5 goals, 6 assists in 62 games. I mean, maybe it's a one-off, but I mean, he's getting paid 2.65 for the next 2 seasons as well. And it's one of those things where if you can get rid of that, then that's a nice little bonus.
Yeah.
You can't worry about the 3rd round pick they traded to get him, right? That's gone.
Yeah.
That is now Ayrton Martino, who is a Dallas Stars prospect. And that's, you're never getting that back, and he probably will turn into nothing anyways. By the way, if you want a fun fact, the draft pick that was used to select Jason Dickinson, we did this a little bit last week with the Lou Lamoriello trade. Here's a fun one. In 2013, the pick that ended up being Jason Dickinson just a couple months later was traded to Dallas for Jaromir Jagr.
Wow.
So that's a fun
Jagr for Dickinson. Yeah. So in all seriousness, and by the way, Kai says, doesn't Pearson have a no trade list? Yes, he has a modified no trade, 7 teams that he
and it's not like he can say no 7 times, right? It's not like they can be like, hey, well, we've got a trade lined up for you.
Yeah.
You're going to be going to Boston. He's like, that's one of my no's.
Yeah.
Right. He has to submit that list beforehand.
Correct.
And the Canucks can just not call those teams.
You know what we should do at the end of our stream tonight is if we each had a 7-team no trade list, we should compare lists, but we'll get to that in a second. Okay. So with Dickinson, Parker, it stinks because he played so poorly. They had to move Miller to the middle because remember the thought was whatever Lotto line, maybe Horvat, Höglander, Pearson, or Horvat, Pearson, Podkolzin. And then we kind of penciled in Dickinson as centering our 3rd line. And then we have the Lamico, as centering our 4th line. And then you can load up that top 6. But now, because he didn't play well, you have to put Miller in the middle. And now you're spreading 3 you're spreading minutes among three centers now at even strength in PD, Horvat, and Miller. So I think that was kind of a side effect of his poor play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
It just added a hole to the team.
Yep.
That was supposed to be a lockdown. He got outplayed by the Lamico line, right?
No, you're right.
Like Lamico, Mott, and Highmore were all better than Jason Dickinson last year.
Yeah.
Which isn't something you can afford, right? You just can't afford things like that. So the question is, what can you do to get rid of him?
I don't know.
Does he have positive value? Does 1 year overwrite how good he was in Dallas?
That's tough. If you're thinking about, recency bias, or what have you done for me lately, whatever. Yeah, he's got to play a bit to build up his value again.
So he'll be 27 at the start of next season. So he's still young. I mean, part of me wonders, because I'm thinking like any team's going to look at him and be like, okay, he played so well for Dallas. He played so bad here. What if they just trade him back to Dallas? Because they traded for him so he wouldn't get picked in the expansion draft.
Right.
That was why he was available. Well, maybe you just say, hey, you guys want him back for a 3rd round pick? Maybe Artion Martino. Just pretend this never happened and start over. I think that's like the only possible good scenario. Otherwise, I don't know. Is he buyout eligible? Have you looked at the?
No, I'm just looking at Dallas. It's funny that you mentioned Dallas. I was just looking at their cap friendly. Did you know that after next season, they only have 3 forwards signed? Sagan at 10 million, Ben at 9.5, and Faxa at 3.25. That's it. They have 3 forwards signed for past next season, and then 5 of their 6D. But still,
sounds like they could use Jason Dickinson. If the Canucks were to buy out Jason Dickinson, because right now his cap hits 2.65 this year, 2.65 the following year.
Yeah.
Instead of those 2 years at 2.65, he would his cap hit would be about $1 million this year. Next year it would be 400,000, and then 1 million.
Okay.
So you're adding $1 million onto the books for 2024, 25, 2025, 26. You are taking 2.7 off this year and 3.25 off the following year.
And what if you buy him out, not this season, but in his last year? Is that same numbers? No, I have no clue.
Sorry, those numbers were wrong. Those savings numbers. I don't know why it said it like that.
Okay.
So you're saying if you buy it out in the last year instead?
Yeah, exactly. Because usually you want to do it in the last year as opposed to.
So it would go from 2.65 in 2023-24, down to 483,000, and then about $1 million the following year.
Well, I'd do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, but were you at he hit this one really nice goal near the end of the season, I guess. I think where he made a really nice decon. I can't remember who it was. It was right in front of me too. But those moments were few and far between. Yeah. Someone says we should trade Dickinson for Parker. Peter said that. Trade Dickinson for Parker.
My rights are not taken. They could just sign me. Although I guess they're trying to get the cap relief. Does that mean I have to pay his salary?
We do,
guys. I can't afford that.
Good try, Peter. Though Parker appreciates your faith in him. How come no one offers me as trade bait around here?
Do you want to pay his salary? They're trying to stick me with a $3 million employee. I don't make that much.
That's true. When you were talking about his stats, it sounds like my roller hockey stats. Okay, King RJ now comes in. Dickinson for Clay, veteran leadership. Well, you got the veteran part right. Okay, we can go on and
on. That's all the Canucks stuff. We got 40 minutes out of it.
We are Canucks After Dark, after all.
We are Canucks After Dark. It is dark, and there is a Stanley Cup Final that starts in less than 48 hours.
And we have a wager to update. We got a lot to talk about here.
Yeah. So let's do a quick backstory. The Lightning won, and the Colorado Avalanche also won, which means they're playing against each other for the Stanley Cup.
Yes.
All right, that's the backstory of how the NHL playoffs work.
Yeah.
These series were kind of, I mean, the Lightning were down 2-0 and just won every game. The Avalanche basically just won every game.
I forgot they're still in it. Yeah.
It wasn't a super exciting conference final. The first round was by far the best hockey we've had. Second round was decent as well. Third round was a bit of a snoozer. But we do have the Stanley Cup Finals, Lightning,
probably the best. Yeah,
and Avalanche. They're the best two teams.
Best matchup we could hope for. You have a mini dynasty in the making, a team going for a three-peat versus the probably heads and tails above the rest, the best team in the NHL this season and probably last season, even though they didn't do well in the playoffs. So this is exciting, man. This is exciting. To me, all the experts I read and what I've noticed myself too, Parker, is Colorado can play. They're not just a run and gun team. Okay, we'll give the goaltending edge to Tampa for sure. Of course, Vasilevsky's better than Kemper and Francouz, but Colorado can run and gun with Makar, McKinnon, Landeskog, Rantanen, Taves, all those guys. They can also not goon it up, but they can play a pretty, big, rough, grinding style. So I think this would be quite fascinating. They're obviously they're kind of like Toronto. Would you agree? They're kind of the closest of the three teams that Tampa beat: Toronto, Florida, and the Rangers. They're closest to Toronto. Actually.
Yeah, and Toronto gave them the most trouble.
Exactly.
And you look at the matchups, right? I mean, we're talking about, McKinnon, Kucherov, throw Stamkos in there, throw any number of guys on the Avs in there, Makar, Hedman. It's sort of like a, it's the young guard against the guard that's been there, sort of the old guard. They've been there 3 years in a row. Not like most of these guys are super old. I mean, Hedman's getting older, but it's the, Colorado's pushing to try to become the next Tampa, basically.
Yes.
And hopefully kick off a mini dynasty of their own. And to be the best, you got to beat the best. And if you want to be the champion, you got to beat the champ. It's really that simple. And it's going, I'm hoping, all I'm hoping for is that this thing goes 7.
Yes.
I think, we have predictions that we have to uphold, an update, which went poorly for me last week. I didn't have to make that move last week.
Yeah.
It was aggressive, but so let's give a recap on our predictions. So we've predicted every series of the playoffs.
Yep.
First
heading
round,
in. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So first round, you were up like a little bit on me, I think.
Yeah, 19-17.
So you're up 2 on me after the first round. Second round, we picked the exact same teams in the exact same games for all 4 of the series.
Which we got 2 out of 4 right.
So he was still up 2. Down to last round, I took a shot, and I took the Oilers because I needed to get lucky and I needed to make up points. That obviously failed, but I did predict that the Lightning would win their series in 6. So I got a bonus point from that.
Yeah.
So I am down 4 points.
Yeah. And Parker, you laid that out so well. Just so everyone remembers, we get 3 points if we get the right team. We get an extra point if we get the right number of games, obviously won by that team. So yes, heading into the conference finals, I was only up 2 on Parker because I maintained that 2-point gap. And then it was funny, before we went on the show 2 weeks ago, before the third round started, Parker was debating in front of me, does he make his move in the third round or does he save it for the final? And of course, hindsight's 2020, but work with me, you guys. If Parker did get Tampa in 6 and I got Tampa in, I didn't get Tampa in 6, I got Tampa. So he gained a point on me there. He got 4, I got 3. So he closes the gap to 1 point there. So all Parker had to do was match my Colorado pick. And then he'd be 1 point behind me heading into the final.
And then coin flip.
Yeah, but you took a risk, and I admire. I said it 2 weeks ago. I admire you for it then. I still admire you for it now. But yes, I got Colorado. You picked Edmonton. I don't think Edmonton even won a game, and now I am up 4 heading the final round. So if you do the math,
and right after the show, I was thinking too. I was like, I just did some very basic math in my head. I said, okay, if I need to make up one series,
Yeah.
I could make up Edmonton over Colorado. Well, odds of that happening are low. Rangers
Mhm.
over Tampa Bay, odds of that happening are low. But in the final, it's probably pretty even. That would
Yeah.
have been the time to try to make a move. My fear was we get to the final and I try to pick the team that you're not picking, and I'm wrong.
Right.
Because
Right.
again, I was sort of 50-50 on who you'd end up taking
Right.
if it was Tampa,
Yes.
Colorado, and I was like, well,
Yeah.
then I'm out anyways.
But at least you get to
Um,
that point though. That's the
hey,
trade-off,
I'm
right?
still alive
You are.
for
You
the
are.
next at least 2 minutes.
Okay, so
I'm
this is
down
what we're
4.
Yes, you're down 4. So the most Parker can do, if we don't, and we won't change the point structure now, just because Parker can tie me. If we pick opposite teams and Parker nails the number of games, he will get 4 points and we will end up tied at 31 apiece. But he's got to nail both
I
of
have
those.
to be perfect.
You have to be
I
perfect.
have to be perfect, and I have to pick the team that I don't think Clay will pick, which means I probably don't get to pick the team that I actually think will win. So
give us 30 seconds. We are each going to write down. Do you have a pen and paper? Because I want to do this legit.
I have playing cards.
Okay.
Well, I have paper.
Okay.
I got stuff.
I'm going to get mine ready too. Here.
I've got a Jugo Juice gift card of an unknown denomination.
Nice.
And I might have a Sharpie.
Okay. So I have just written down my prediction on this envelope here. Okay. And so there's no funny business. We will reveal at the same time, exact same time, not one after the other. So Parker or I can't have 2 envelopes ready and just hold up the other one. Although that'd be very smart.
Okay. I have a way of showing the team that I am taking.
Okay. Explain it. Actually, can I just respond real quick to Get Hooked just in case, before I forget? Get Hooked says, hey, Clay, I'm close to Helsingborg. I hope I can meet you. Okay. Get Hooked. Let's see. This is what we're going to do. Email me. Okay, go ahead, Parker.
I'm a Twitter DM. Get a Twitter DM worked out. Send that over to Clay.
Oh, he can email me too. I don't care. Anyone can email me. I'll just put it in the thing. That's obviously an @ sign. Don't type the word @ or else you're not going to find me. Okay, go ahead, Parker. How are you going to do this?
All right. I have a few decks of cards on me, and I kind of realized that the colors on these cards kind of resemble the colors of the teams. So Colorado likes their sort of maroon.
Okay.
Tampa Bay has got their silver. I've got one card that I will hold up.
Yeah.
And that will be the team that I select.
You could actually find like a silver or a red card in 7654, and that can also show the number of games.
This one's a joker. Oh, that would have been so smart.
Don't you have those decks handy? It's worth it, man. It'll be worth it for the drama.
Funny, I don't. I have one of the decks handy, and in this deck, all I have is the Joker card because I took it out of the deck because no one needs a Joker card in there.
Right. And if you want the other team, if you want that team, then okay, it won't work. Okay.
Right. And I can't spoil that because then I have to grab one of each. And
okay, I get it.
Yeah, it wouldn't work.
Well, I guess if we pick the same team, it doesn't matter how many games you pick because you're not going to catch me.
It doesn't matter.
But if we pick opposite teams, there's no rush. You can take as much time as you want to name the number of games, right?
I'm ready.
Okay. How should we do this?
I'm going to hold them both up. My queen and my joker.
Right.
And I'm going to drop one when you say to drop one.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, I'm going to say countdown.
I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, drop. And then when I say drop, I will do the opposite drop and lift mine. You ready?
Okay.
3, 2, 1, drop.
All right.
Well, I just showed everyone my paycheck, but that's okay. Okay. Avs in 6, and that's your Tampa color.
That's my Tampa color.
Oh my gosh.
And I've pulled out the other deck as well. With the 6.
Love it. I love it. Okay. So I got Avs in 6. Or you're going Tampa in 6.
I'm not going 7. Reasoning for my 6. I think if this goes to 7, in Colorado. I think that's the least. I think that's less likely for Tampa to win it. I think if Tampa's going to win it, 6 games is the best odds.
Yeah.
It's going to be 6 or 7. I don't think this is going to be a blowout.
Yeah.
So it's kind of 50-50 on that. And I just figured their best shot's going to be to win in 6.
I love it. I actually revealed my prediction on and I'm not going to change it. Yeah. So, I've had Avs in 6. To me, yes, I'm worried that the 9-day layoff is going to bite them maybe for a game, but I just think this is they've played 3 fewer games. They've only played 14 games. Maybe that's bad, but they played 3 fewer games in Tampa. That's got to account for a bit of fatigue. So we'll see. Tampa's played some good series though, and they're playing really good hockey right now. Wow, this is exciting.
Yeah, I'm again, I want Colorado to win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me be 100% clear. I've picked Colorado from the start. But I had a feeling Clay was going Colorado because I think they would win, and I genuinely think they're the better team. So I just had to pick the team that I thought would lose. But I think it's like 55-45.
Yep.
And you know, I gotta go for it.
I love these peeks behind the curtain to understand your thinking. So you anticipated that I would pick Colorado, even though you think Colorado is going to win for the sake of this pool. You picked Tampa. That's good. I could have messed you up, and
you could have if you were really playing the meta game, you could have double crossed me and just
pick Tampa.
Like, I'm gonna pick the team that I think is gonna lose as well, and then I would have been in trouble.
And not only the team that I think is gonna lose, I'm gonna pick the team that's not the team that you think I'm gonna pick.
Right? Yeah. You just flip it.
Now I'm confused. I don't even know who I picked anymore. Okay.
Okay. You picked the team that loses. All right. Good deal.
I love it.
Anything else you're excited about in this series? I mean, we kind of just talked about our predictions, but we picked 6 games. I think we're both hoping for 7 though, right?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And when does game 7 fall? Do you have the schedule in front of you?
Game 7 would be on June 28th. So everything is 2 days apart, except game 1 and 2 is a 3-day gap.
Weird.
So it's June 15th. So Wednesday. Not that weird because June 18th is a Saturday. Maybe they're trying to, get Saturday night. So Wednesday, Saturday, Monday, game 4, earliest it can end is Wednesday, June 22nd.
Yeah.
Game 5 would be Friday the 24th. Game 6 would be Sunday the 26th, and Game 7 would be Tuesday, June 28th. That might be one week. Maybe if it's going to Game 7, we push that episode. I guess we have to push it to Wednesday.
Okay, let me see my
he's got to pull up the Sweden schedule.
Sweden
Thursday morning. How does that work for you? Thursday 30th.
Morning, the 29th or 30th?
30th. Because the game would be the 28th, your 29th morning. And then we do the show on the 28th. That makes way more sense. Yeah. Look on the Wednesday, the 29th.
Oh,
not gonna work. That's okay.
No. Let's play by ear because it depends how Jake's doing. Quite frankly.
What if, because 10 p.m. is 7 a.m. there.
Yeah.
What if we do a post game right as it ends at 5 a.m. your time in Sweden?
I'll have my people talk to your people, Parker.
Sounds good. We're not going to set anything in stone. What we will set in stone, folks, is that next week, Monday, June 20th, normally we would do a show at 10 p.m., but Clay will be in Sweden. So we will still do a show at 10 p.m. Clay will be live in, was it Helsingborg?
Helsingborg with an
Helsingborg, Sweden.
Yeah.
Home of the
Helsingborgian. Was that
any sports teams there?
Yeah, the Helsingborgian Hellhoppers. They're great. No, I have no clue.
They're the home of Helsingborg IF, which is their football club.
Awesome.
Their Swedish football club. Do they have any home games while you're there? Looks like they do.
Really?
Yeah, they play against Malmo at 10 a.m. on Monday, June 27th.
Hold on. Gotta check my schedule. What
I'll
Monday?
Monday, June 27th. That's 10 a.m. my time, I think. So that's what, 8 p.m.,
Oh, I'm
7
free.
p.m. There you go. Yeah, go to a Swedish soccer game. That would be cool.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna write it into my schedule
I
right here.
I will inform you. Helsingborg is the worst team in the league.
Oh, maybe I'll play then. Okay, great.
They've played 11 matches. They have won 1 of them. They have 1 win, 8 losses, 2 draws.
And they'll be confused with who's the Asian guy sitting in the crowd by himself.
Who's the one person who's shown up to our football match?
Okay, I will look that up. What's the team called?
Helsingborg IF, which is a football club. I don't think they don't have a cool name.
I will be spending a lot of my time at the Olympia Bowling Center. That's where I'm going to be the whole time.
Sorry. Helsingborg's IF, full name. I'm going to put this in a banner so you can see it as I say it. Helsingborg's Idrottsförening.
Yeah.
Which I guess is the word for football club, maybe.
Yeah.
That's my hot take.
Either that or what happens.
Sports Association.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, brother.
We'll be back next Tuesday or next Monday. Tuesday for Clay. The next week is a little iffy. We'll figure that one out. We'll see what the hockey schedule is doing. We'll see what Clay's schedule is doing. But he's going to be in Sweden, which is way cooler than this. He's going to be basically in Denmark, which is also cooler than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to do it. At least 1 week. Week 1 of my 2 weeks away. We can do it.
I'm expecting you to be outside in the Swedish countryside, the Swedish hills of Helsingborg.
No, they got to pay for data. Oh, I got to find a Wi-Fi somewhere.
Yeah. Well, you'll figure it out.
It'll be great.
We'll just get a green screen. You'll be set. Well, you should take a photo of your room before you leave and then just green screen your background to be exactly the same. So it's not interesting at all.
Okay.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Nice pull. Don't do that. Very good.
Not intentional. All right. It's 10:57.
Yeah.
Erwin,
it's not that kind of stream, Erwin. No.
Erwin asks, can Clay just stream from inside a sauna? I'm assuming this is in Sweden. I hope this is Canucks After Dark. This is our issue though. Canucks After Dark. It's not going to be dark yet. It's going to be going to be morning.
Yeah, but
that's unfortunate.
Whatever.
So you'll have to be in a sauna to make up for it.
Yeah, and then we'll lose whatever subscribers we have already. Yeah, or maybe we'll gain. I don't know.
Maybe.
No.
Who knows? You never know nowadays. Any other? We're out of topics. We got 2 minutes. We have to fill this 2 minutes. Otherwise, you guys get mad at us.
Okay, here's one for you. What's the most one-on-one? They might not be checking each other, but is it Makar versus Hedman? Is it Kucherov?
Yeah. What's the storyline wise?
What's your storyline for you?
Actually,
it doesn't have to be a matchup, but just what's the biggest storyline for you in these Stanley Cup Finals?
I think Cale Makar on his own, is just becoming a storyline. I mean, I was feeling that way about McDavid, Draisaitl, right? Both of them just putting up a dumb amount of points. Cale Makar has 22 points in 14 games as a defenseman.
Yeah.
Right. Like we're getting into some crazy territory here. Like we could have a defenseman finishing the playoffs with like 30 points, 35 points.
Yeah.
So I think that's super interesting. And I not necessarily him against Hedman, but yeah, I'm excited to see what Hedman's doing too. Right. I think he's not injured, which is good. After that Lafreniere incident.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I hope if Colorado's going to win it, I hope Makar just lights it up and we get, a 35-point defense winning the Conn Smythe.
Yep. That's a good storyline. For me, it's what will the return of Braden Point do for Tampa? Obviously it's going to be good, but we'll see. They won the whole series without him. And the other one for me is how big of this goal it's really, to me, it's not even Tampa against the Colorado goalies. It's the Colorado Snipers versus Vasilevsky. Are they going to be able to get past him like Toronto did quite a bit in the first round? Or is he going to be the wall that we've seen in the past 2 series? So I'm excited. I'm excited for that matchup too.
Yeah, that is going to be very interesting. Vasilevsky's a big part of the series because he could very well just put up a 950 over 5 games and that just be it. And and there's nothing Colorado can do about it. But if he is his normal self, which is still outstanding, they might have a shot. But they're gonna have to be dominant.
They have been, and wow, Lucas, what a guy! Just right under the wire, and beautiful
buzzer.
$14 donation. Thank you, Lucas. Can Clay buy? Well, I already know the answer. The LA Kings arena naming rights could be a new name in the works. Bye crypto market. Yes. Not doing so well.
Crypto.com arena, which I did clown on excessively when that became a thing. It turns out, spending probably $30-40 million a year on arena naming rights, maybe not a great investment. That is wild. I still think we're a little priced out. Do you imagine Canucks After Dark Arena, home of the Los Angeles Kings? That would be so awesome.
That was funny. I will come up with a name for sure, Lucas, but thank you for your donation and for your support of this channel as always. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. And with that, it is our time to wrap up. Like we said, we'll be back next Monday, Canucks After Dark. And people were saying Canucks After a Dark Night, sort of, for you, because it's going to be the morning. So it is After the Dark, which, sure, that's great.
Yeah.
As always, if you missed any part of the show, you can rewind back to the beginning, or you can find it on your favorite podcast platform. That does help us out quite a bit. Hit the like button if you haven't already. All of you, I can see if you don't. That's actually not true, but if it scares you enough, then it is. And Clay, do you have any parting words for the evening?
Just thanks to everyone for the well wishes. I appreciate it. I'm excited to spend some quality time with Jacob, and it's not like a sport where I'm really good at. I'm okay at it, but I'm looking forward to going and being a dad, being a cheerleader, being an affirmer, an encourager, being there to help him when he's to calm him down. All those things that I love about sports and about being coach and being a dad first and foremost. So I'll let the coaches coach. I will parent, and I can't wait to share some updates with all of you a week from now. Hopefully they're good at. No, what am I talking about? We have. He won't even be bowling yet. It will just be practicing. But I'm excited for the trip. So thank you.
We're gonna need the stream set up. We're gonna need you at the desk. Have you seen the movie Dodgeball?
Yes.
You basically you need to be basically just Jason Bateman at the desk in Dodgeball.
All right.
And have the whole stream set up. For Jacob.
I'll do what I can. I'm not sure how much of the stuff I can pack in my suitcase, but we'll figure it out. Thanks, Parker. I appreciate it. And thanks to everyone for the well wishes. I'm excited.
Awesome. All right. Thank you guys all very much. We will see you next week. Have a good one.